Have you ever found yourself playing a game, no matter what it is, and wanting to be better than someone else? Have you ever wanted that high score, the bragging rights that comes with it? That game could be a board game, or soccer, or even a video game. There are professional leagues for all different types of games, like chess and the NFL. But did you know there's a professional league for video games? There is, and it's called eSports.
That could be it!
To reset the bracket!
The reset!
C4 killed by Fabiano will take out England. We're gonna chance to grab one. Can he grab another? Can he grab a third? No, he grabs two. KS gets it. And it looks like Penta Sports is gonna be the champions here. They're gonna be the Season 2 champions for the Pro League of Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, the throw! That's it! That's it! Tokito is the Evolution 2017 champion, coming all the way from losers bracket.
And as soon as Surfboard dies, that is it. South Korea are your 2017 Overwatch World Cup champions.
They do it again, Doa. It wasn't as clean as last year. They didn't sweep without losing a map. There were some speed bumps, but in the end, nothing could slow them down.
And there's still plenty of time on the clock. Make them come to you. Put the screws to oh my lord. Is this how it is?
Oh my God.
Over! It is over, Salem! He does it! Snatches victory from the claws of defeat!
MVG Salem is your EVO 2017 champion.
Esports are a new and exciting type of competition and entertainment that is slowly growing year after year. Some of the biggest games in esports include League of Legends, StarCraft 2, Street Fighter, Overwatch, Super Smash Bros., and many more. Each year, esports tournaments are getting bigger and bigger, with more viewership and attendees, bigger venues, and higher prize pools reaching up to 6 figures.
They have all these crazy sponsorships. They make a lot of money just, I've heard upwards of 6 figures just, for playing these games competitively together.
There's one player this year, TY, he made around near 400 grand just this year, which is incredible for him.
It's not guaranteed, but it's there. And especially nowadays that players are starting to get more money and players are starting to see more money in these tournaments, like the prizes are starting to grow.
It's a gamble going into a field like this at this stage when it's new, like new enough where it's not a whole lot of money is being put into it at the time, but there's enough where there could be money made.
This final is called BlizzCon, and it's a $750,000 prize pool, and first place gets $280,000. So these players, if you're as long as you're in the top, you can make a living off of it.
Esports are just like any other sport where you can play for fun, compete for money, or watch for entertainment. Esports teams are very similar to those of sports as well. Players can get sponsors and coaches, as well as team managers and fan bases for each player.
Here in Grand Finals, Tokito has sent Punk to the losers bracket.
Esports aren't a huge thing as of today, but the potential is there. But what exactly is the definition of esports?
I wouldn't call it esports, I would call it video game sports.
Really just a competitive scene for gaming, and a professional scene for gaming, really.
Anything gaming related that you compete with?
A game that you would normally just one-dimensionally see as a game, and it's just a game, and putting that competitive level behind it.
Anything that's electronic that's competitive, it has a competitive scene with it too, so that means they play professionally.
It's like Major League Gaming pretty much.
Electronic sports, so it's basically like sports, but on a platform of a PC or an Xbox, console video games.
There are many different types of esports games, similar to how there are many different types of sports. There are different types of esport game genres, such as shooters, strategy, or even fighting games. For example, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U is a fighting game that places opponents one-on-one with 2 lives and 6 minutes on the clock. They are played in best of 3 or best of 5 rounds per set, and most brackets are double elimination. The point of the game is to build up percent on the other player's character in order to knock them off the stage. The higher the percent, the more likely they are to fall off. Once a player loses all their lives, they lose the game. Super Smash Bros., like most fighting games, is an enhanced version of rock, paper, scissors, but instead of rock, paper, scissors, it's block, attack, and grab. Block beats attack, grab beats block, and attack beats grab. Players who have mastered this basic form of gameplay are the ones who play at the highest level, and this is where it ends up getting very fast-paced. On the other hand, there are team-based games such as Rainbow Six Siege and Overwatch that require a lot of teamwork and communication in order to win. Teams range from 4 to 6 players and usually are sponsored by companies as well to represent their team names. With all the potential esports has in its time of day, the biggest question out there is, can esports potentially be as popular as regular sports one day?
I mean, I know that real sports have such a crazy following, but if you think about it, the millions of people that play video games, if they were all as invested into it as the people are who, say, watch football or play soccer, like, it could really get to that level.
I think so, because like it's growing already, and there's like a lot of examples of it. Like they mentioned it, like StarCraft is going to be featured in the Olympics for 2018, which is going to be pretty exciting.
It's going to have a rocky beginning, but it's going to get, as it is right now, it's getting a good amount of traction. And maybe in a decade or two, it's going to get so much traction that it'll become its own sport. It's going to be televised, streamed, and maybe it could be its own World Cup thing where people, sit down during, it's like some big event and people can talk about it at work the next day.
And even if you aren't good, you can find enjoyment out of video games. And if you aren't good, you'll probably definitely find enjoyment out of watching good people play a game that you enjoy.
I think grow to the same point of it, if not above it.
Over the summer, I happened to even watch Super Smash Bros. Tournament, the EVO Grand Finals, on ESPN. So that was very cool. I went into a cafe and asked them to change it to ESPN, and they were playing Smash Bros. And I loved just seeing other people walk into the cafe and be like, "Whoa, they're playing Smash Bros. On TV! That's crazy!" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is great! I'm watching this on ESPN, the most famous sports channel there is." So, that's an awesome thing to have, and I hope more and more esports can go on to live television in the future. And it's just a matter of time before esports is just as popular as regular sports. Esports takes a lot of mental and physical preparation in order to master, just like anything in competition. Esports to me are very interesting to watch and to play, and I found myself enjoying esports as a whole in the entertainment field. With years to come in the new movement to the digital age, esports fits right into the field and will be a new form of sports entertainment to watch and enjoy on your TV screen with your family and friends. I hope all of you watching have learned something new about esports and will look back on this video in the future when you are flipping through your channels and happen to see a video game on the screen.
Don't record me. Why are you recording?